It is time to leave your worries outside and laugh with us inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma on Thursday, February 27th, 2025. We do want to talk about Luka's first game against his now former Dallas Mavericks team. Even though we're not a sports-centric podcast, sometimes there's some really good stuff worth talking about over in that arena. And we're going to do that. But before we do that, we're going to stay in our own lane and arena of stupid. Because the other day, we talked about the fear of ketchup in what may be the stupidest news story we will cover all year. And in another discussion here on the show, we mentioned that Lily Phillips, one of the adult content stars from OnlyFans, who had bedded a number of men within 12 hours, said she was pregnant, to which we said, well, if there's something that'll get Maury Povich out of retirement to do his big bit, that's probably it. Well, now those two worlds have seemingly collided. This is not new, but it is new to me. So I'm curious to see if you guys have seen this before. Back in the year 2000, on an episode of Maury, he had a guest on who had a crippling fear of olives. And I believe this to be one of the funniest videos. This may be one of the funniest moments of television I have ever seen in my life. And it's taken me 25 years to ever see it. So here we are. I'm going to share this with you now. This is one woman's crippling fear of olives on the Maury Povich show from the year 2000.
What's the matter?
There's no olives.
What?
There's no olives near me.
There are no olives here. There are no olives here. Olives?
Please, no door.
Wait a second. Let me ask you something. My God, you're holding onto my hand and you're going to pull it off. Sally, black olives or green olives? Any kind?
Here.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Why olives?
Because they remind me of dead people.
Why do they remind you of dead?
My grandfather sat up in his coffin and looked at me when he died.
With green eyes?
With a black in them.
How old were you when this happened? 7. And you really believe that your grandfather came right up out of his coffin and he had green eyes? And ever since then, you've been scared of olives? Do you eat olives?
No, we can't even come down the aisle.
Okay. Now, you can't even go down the aisle of a grocery store? Mary, you won't let go of me.
Oh, yeah.
Bring out the olives.
Backstage she runs.
Sally. Sally, I don't have anything. Sally, I don't have anything.
I never knew Maury had such a sadistic streak.
I didn't either. And obviously what's so terrible about it is Sally was fully aware that he was going to bring out some olives. She knew it. That's why she wouldn't even sit in one of the chairs to be interviewed. She was at the beginning of the video. She's standing sort of in between backstage and on stage, holding onto Maury's arm because she doesn't trust him.
And that's a like she's legitimately petrified. I mean, like you can't. I don't think she's that good of an actress.
I don't think so either. And if this was, then she deserves every single award for acting that exists.
I think he just wanted her to let go of his arm. Legitimately, because he addressed it twice. And there's olives on the TV screen behind him. That's why I don't think she was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, she clearly has trust issues, and that got solidified, and she was right. But the fact, you're right, Trey. This is some of the most sadistic stuff I have seen out of a television host, and that includes names like Geraldo. What was the chain smoking guy from the 80s?
Morton Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
I would
mean,
like to, yeah.
Can you imagine the fear and heart palpitations she must go through just to open a pizza box?
And I thought my mom, really, really hated tomatoes, but that pales in comparison to this lady's actual crippling fear of olives. I want to see this part again where Maury brings out the olives, because I just absolutely love this. It's one of my favorite things ever. And you're right, Trey. This is abject terror for this woman.
They remind you of dead.
My grandfather sat up in his coffin and looked at me when he died.
With green eyes?
The black in him.
How old were you when this happened? 7. And you really believe that your grandfather came right up out of his coffin and he had green eyes? And ever since then, you've been scared of olives? Do you eat olives?
No, we can't even down the aisle.
Okay. Now, you can't even go down the aisle of a grocery store? Mary, you won't let go of me.
Oh, yeah.
Bring out the olive. Sally. Sally, I don't have anything. Sally, I don't have anything.
There's no way in hell you can ever trust that man again. Sally, I don't have anything. You said earlier you didn't have any olives either. You lying jerk.
That's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Isn't it fantastic? Maury Povich, wasn't he a respected journalist at one point in his life?
Yeah.
No, I didn't think he was. I thought it was Connie Chung, his wife. She was very.
Oh.
Well, no,
Oh.
she was and maintained it throughout her professional career, I believe. Whereas Maury jumped ship and went from respected journalist to bring out the olives. And in all fairness to Maury, we're going to remember him in this moment till the day we die.
What if she's at a bar and somebody orders a martini?
Oh, she's
martini extra olives, please. Just watch her collapse to the ground.
No, he and Connie Chung actually met because they were co-anchors together. I forgot what market on news, and
Oh, okay.
and then he did radio, television, and then A Current Affair started off to be a serious journalistic show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that was where he really got national fame. And then he obviously was ahead of his time when he realized there is a different lane I could take and make a lot of money. Just getting paid off the stupidity of people.
I didn't realize he was such a pioneer for all of us.
You said olive.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
Time now to talk to Daniel Cook from Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. To get a free roof inspection, call him today, 833-COOK-DFW, 833-COOK-DFW. Daniel, I'm pretty sure you know what's in your homeowner's insurance policy because it's a huge part of your business and your life. But most of us probably have no idea what our actual coverage is, do we?
Most people have no clue what they pay for on insurance because they expect that their insurance is the insurance. They expect that they're going to have a baseline insurance that they have to have based on their mortgage requirements or whatever else. Or they went and saw somebody, they said, yeah, we can get you at $3,000 a year for insurance. No problem. What they forget to tell you sometimes is that, well, that means we're going to have to take your deductible from 1% to 3%. Or we're going to have to change your coverage from replacement cost to actual cash value. Or we're going to take away half of your rider coverage or code upgrade. And this is boring. Nobody wants to read your policies. Nobody, I mean, it's 32 pages of blah, 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 blah. So make sure, one, I highly urge everybody, get an agent that's willing to sit down with you and discuss coverages and how much coverages change your premiums. And two, if you don't understand it now, make sure you get that understanding before something major happens at your home. I mean, a few months ago, we had a client that called us out. They had a ton of damage. They were shocked that they found out they had a $12,000 deductible on their coverages now. You don't want to be that guy. Don't be shocked. Know what you're walking into, because sometimes it may not even be worth it to file a claim. You know, maybe you just want to pay out of the pocket, because if you have to have more than $12,000 worth of damage, sometimes you won't. So now make sure you know your coverages. Make sure you get an agent that will walk you through it.
Great free advice from Daniel Cook from Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration, because he sees it and deals with it every single day. His main mission is to help you, the homeowner. So give him a call today, 833-COOK-DFW, 833-COOK-DFW, or the website, cookdfw.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. To get your free roof inspection to make sure your home is ready for storm season, give them a call at 833-COOK-DFW, 833-COOK-DFW, or the website cookdfw.com to reach Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. Dan O'Malley, Trey Trenholm, Raj Sharma with you inside the Treehouse today, Thursday, February 27, 2025. After seeing that video from the lady who was terrified of olives on Maury back in the year 2000, I'm starting to think that The Greatest Showman was based on him, because that really is some serious showmanship. To build that tension and then release it with the grand announcement of bring out the olives. And she just, boom, she bolts backstage. I think she had to be caught by a producer. Because otherwise, had that producer not caught her, she might still be running 25 years later.
She looked like one of those chicks that the third guy wasn't the father, and then they're out of options.
I can certainly understand how giving up hard news for this type of show material is. I understand how that can be very tempting, because we deal with it every day. I'm a little envious where he gets to say, bring out the olives, and have that immediate emotional distress on another human. God, that's beautiful. Anyways, speaking of emotional distress, I did not see the game, so I really know next to nothing about Luka's first game against his now former team, the Dallas Mavericks. I will say I've thought about this a lot over the past, I guess it's been a couple of weeks since the big trade. And again, we don't normally delve into too much sports stuff on the regular Treehouse show, but this is a huge story, and we're all Mavs fans. At least we were, because I did a lot of thinking about this, and Trey, you were right. There might have been some misgivings and some things that were not great about Luka in the previous, in last year's finals. But the Mavs, if I may be so bold, really up hard.
Yeah.
And even if he's not Michael Jordan, because very few players are, he was the Mavs guy. And I've decided to, denounce my Mavs fandom.
Okay.
Based on this trade. Not because I'm such a huge Luka lover, but instead because this franchise has acted really stupidly. And as an expert in stupid, I know it when I see it, surrounding this whole Luka trade. So I was excited, though, to see that Luka and the Lakers beat the Mavs last night, since I'm now a former Mavs fan.
I mean, the results of that trade really won't be known until a year or two from now.
The immediate results of the trade are crap. Because
yes,
forget the emotional attachment to a player. Just from an organizational standpoint, this is a terrible trade.
Mhm.
Terrible.
I don't disagree, but at the time of the trade, there's a lot of embellishment going on about what the Mavericks were this season. They were 28-26. They weren't that they were very middle of the road at best.
Mhm.
And only time will tell if this may have been one of the top 5 biggest boneheaded trades ever.
Mhm.
This also could be a glimpse into, they had really good insight into Luka and they didn't want to invest, $350 million in him. We may look back and go, boy, if Jerry Jones had the same insight to Dak as they did to Luka, Cowboys would be in a much better place.
So what happened in the game?
Oh, Luka went off for a triple double. And probably the biggest thing is in warmups, because it does look like he's lost some weight since he went to LA, and he was doing push-ups like right in front of Nico Harrison.
That's awesome.
Nice touch.
Oh, that is solid. Did he attempt any one-arm push-ups?
I don't think he's there yet.
That's going to take some more conditioning, a lot more training. Yeah, so I think that's phenomenal. And I did see just a couple of minutes ago that Luka joined LeBron James and Russell Westbrook as the only players in the NBA to score triple doubles against every team in the league. And the only reason Luka's name hadn't been up there yet was because he hadn't played against the Mavericks, because he had been one for 7 years. So Luka got a little bit of revenge in that game. Good for him. The reason I go back to saying that I'm disavowing, my Mavs fandom right now is just because I don't like the trade from an organizational standpoint. I don't think they got enough back for what they gave. And what is it? A 2029 first round pick? And getting back an old ass Anthony Davis who immediately got hurt. And they apparently knew he was hurt when they traded for him, but they did it anyway.
He's been hurt all his career.
Yeah, but more specifically, I saw somewhere that they knew he had a specific nagging injury right now, but they still took it. I just feel like they did not get enough for what they gave, so that's bad. I didn't like the PR way in which they handled it. I thought they showed a massive amount of cowardice and chicken strategy with the trade. You got Nico, the GM, who didn't even show his face for a while. Then you've got security staff at the games at the AAC taking down protest posters, kicking fans out, showing displeasure at the team. Nico joking when he did get in front of reporters about, something happening today. It's like you're belittling the emotions and the feelings of your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
All the while, and this is another angle of it, because to me, the larger thing on this is another great example of an executive thinking he knows better than the frontline people of the organization, the players. And we're talking about a guy that was a glorified shoe salesman before becoming the general manager of the Mavericks.
Wasn't it Jason Kidd that came out and said like he didn't even know the trade was happening?
Yes, and that's
Cuban
another aspect to it. Yeah. Didn't even consult the head coach.
Yeah.
And then you have the new ownership, the Adelsons, son-in-law, who I guess is in charge of running stuff for the Mavericks, comes out a couple of days later trying to do damage control and saying all these negative things about Luka after the fact.
Yeah.
You did it backwards. If he was that big of a problem, you should have been laying the groundwork about how terrible he was before you make the trade, softening the blow to the fans that actually love him. They did it all completely backwards because I don't think they properly planned it out or thought about the big picture because they're a bunch of morons. Therefore, I have no reason to cheer for the Mavs anymore.
Did they not like it wasn't a secret that every year they were upset with Luka that his off-season conditioning was not, and he showed up to camp usually 15 pounds overweight.
And I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm still saying that they had enough ammo. If they really had enough ammo to do it, they should have executed it in a better way.
Well, the other thing is they couldn't make it public, otherwise Luka then can start rejecting the deals.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
There are ways to do it. Kind of like the same way that they said that Nico was getting security because he was receiving death threats, and they stuck that story into Tim McMahon's mouth, and he goes on ESPN and says it, and then another Mavs reporter follows up with Dallas police, and they say, we have no reports of that. So there are ways to put information and things out there that it doesn't necessarily involve you. I just don't like the way the whole thing went down. I think it was a big middle finger to the fans, and I think it's fair that the fans give them that middle finger back, but they didn't let the fans give them that middle finger back. They're just a bunch of cowards. That's how I feel.
Yeah, my brother, the doctor, I was asking him about this. He's a huge basketball fan, huge Mavs fan, and I asked him about the trade, and he, as a fan, did the same thing as you did, disavowed the Mavs. And as a physician, he's like, there's some substance abuse. He's like, it's very clear that either he's got some sort of like massive drinking problem. Like he just bloats up. I'm like, 1 minute he looks skinny, the next week he looks like 15 pounds overweight, like Trey was saying.
And all that stuff may very well be true. It may not. I don't know. But I just don't like how the organization did all of it. While keeping in mind, I had a very difficult time watching Luka play at times because he looked like such a big puss flopping around on the court, looking like a fish you just pulled out of Lake Brownwood.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I think they were trying to save money. Is that the angle that they were trying to push for a minute? Like they were going to save money off of him and then get it.
Yeah, I mean, the gist is that they were saying, we don't think he is the caliber of player that deserves this amount of money, so they traded him to try to get something out of it. And that goes back to, again, where I think they could have gotten more out of it. So it was just a bad trade.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the max deal with the Mavs was like $350 million. Max deal with the Lakers is like $260. So
how do they live?
There's big difference right there.
Yeah. So how many push-ups did Luka do in front of Nico?
I don't know. It didn't say. I'm gonna guess like
if it's
3.
if it's not at least 20, then Nico's probably right.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You can get even more Treehouse when you subscribe to Treehouse Plus. What is Treehouse Plus? You get bonus content, subscriber-only episodes, including video. That's right. You can watch entire Treehouse shows on video when you go to patreon.com/treehouseonair and subscribe to Treehouse Plus. That is patreon.com/treehouseonair to subscribe to Treehouse Plus today. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma, inside the Treehouse today, Thursday, February 27, 2025. We mentioned some of the OnlyFans creators before and some of the things they do to make a living, which is a little tawdry to some. But sometimes other things happen in their wake that you don't hear about. But in this case, we're going to. Bonnie Blue is the one that had relations with over 1,000 guys in one day. And she did it at a very specific place. And at this same specific place, something else happened that really caught our attention. And that was a stabbing. Not like that, like an actual like knife stabbing. Three guys were stabbed at a mass brawl during a sex party at the mansion where Bonnie Blue did her massive feat of 1,000 guys in 12 hours. Pretty, what is it?
How do you call the cops to that? like, hey, we're at this thing and a couple guys just got stabbed. And as a cop, how do you investigate that? Like, carry on. Don't let me stop you.
No, you're right. It would be interesting as the dispatcher types that into the call screen that the responding officers receive. 3 stabbed at a house where Bonnie Blue did her thing. I mean, I imagine that was pretty exciting initially until they realized, oh no, I have to take that call.
That's when I take my break.
I'm gonna go dispatch. I'm gonna take lunch now. Thank you very much.
Do we know what condition these guys are in? Or are they? Was everybody okay?
3 stabbed in brawl during sex party at Bonnie Blue Mansion. Love that headline. 4 men were taken to the hospital with injuries, 3 of which were subsequently treated for stab wounds. Not sure what happened to the 4th guy. But it was described as a bloodbath in central London. It's called the Marylebone Mansion. Well, of course. It's a mansion in central London, and it's apparently a pretty well-known place. But a group of men used knives to stab partygoers during a fight at 7 a.m. on Sunday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a difficult way of getting out of church. You can just say you don't want to go.
Yeah, but if you were at that party and you were getting stabbed, you need church.
You need some sort of religion in your life if that's where you were.
Police and paramedics were called to the sleazy address where Bonnie Blue slept with more than 1,000 men in 12 hours. Emergency workers were confronted with a bloodbath when they arrived.
Wow.
One source said there was blood everywhere with people lying injured all over the place. It doesn't sound that bad. I mean, it was 3 guys that got stabbed. Four men were taken to the hospital. 3 of them had stab wounds, though none of the injured were left in a life-threatening condition. So there you go. 3 guys got stabbed at the Bonnie Blue gangbang house, but they're all okay.
Sounds like it was like the first annual Diddy Memorial Party.
I want that T-shirt.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
It is time to advertise right here inside the Treehouse. You can do that. Just shoot us an email, treehouseonair@gmail.com. That's treehouseonair@gmail.com to advertise right here inside the Treehouse, where sponsorship opportunities are available. Dan, Trey, and Raj with you inside the Treehouse today. We mentioned OnlyFans in the previous segment, and I think it's gotten a little out of hand. OnlyFans is out of control, and there needs to be some sort of leash put on it. Although now that I'm saying that sentence out loud, that may also be an available channel on OnlyFans. A 23-year-old woman in New Hampshire named Kelly Tedford was recently arrested because she had tinkled on some quinoa at a grocery store called the Monadnock Food Co-op. Not even sure if I'm saying that properly. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
She reportedly soiled multiple products, including raw walnuts, organic coconut shreds, organic polenta, cornmeal, and 3 types of quinoa, red, white, and tricolor. And she recorded herself doing it. Then she put the items back on the shelf, and she then posted the footage to an OnlyFans page. subscription to her page, $6 a month, by the way.
Okay, good. Good to know. If I want to watch somebody do that to groceries, I will.
They always say to, if you're going to do some sort of content creation, you should be very specific and find your niche. And
Yes.
not only did she find it, but she tinkled on it.
Yeah, I just don't know. How do you get into that? Like, hey, here's $6. Can you go tinkle on some walnuts for me?
And none of what you said is a metaphor. It's just exactly that.
Exactly right. I want all 3 quinoas. I didn't know there were 3 quinoas.
Yeah.
Until this story now.
Yeah. Isn't this the worst way to find out there's different kinds of quinoa?
And so that's been going on for years.
It has. This is not brand new to Kelly.
So
she's posted similar videos since at least 2021.
I mean, was OnlyFans around then?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because I think it really launched during COVID and the pandemic. I mean, I know like co-ops are kind of little hippie communes, but were they aware of this? Were they like, oh yes, all natural? I mean, how do you know? How does someone not go, hey, might not want to eat that?
It's the understatement of the century.
At least wash it.
You bring up an interesting point, Trey, because the headline, a woman was caught peeing on quinoa at a grocery store for her OnlyFans page. And the grocery store was at a co-op in New Hampshire. And you're right, co-ops can be a little hippy-dippy. Even some of the things that she tinkled on, like organic coconut shreds, organic polenta, raw walnuts, 3 types of quinoa, all sounds like some sort of, hippie goulash. One story I had seen yesterday reported her as an employee of the store, but the store says, oh, no, not an employee of ours. She was just a rogue tinkler. But the hippie angle is accurate, Trey, because I don't know if it was right after I saw this news story online, but I got fed a video on Instagram. It was a clip from the Learning Channel and some guy who would go #1 on his produce because he thought that was how they should be cleaned. He believed his pee-pee was cleaner than tap water. And that's why he used that to wash produce before cooking with it.
But what isn't part of this story that she was tinkling on the produce and other items and then putting it back?
Yes.
Well, if you're the store, you're really in a quandary because yes, it's bad if she is an employee and she's doing that, but I feel like it's even worse if she's not an employee and she's doing that.
How did she get to so many items?
Yeah. I mean,
I watched Supermarket Sweep for fun. She was watching it for inspiration. But you're right, Trey. I mean, how many items did she go to the bathroom on before someone who was supposed to be watching the security cameras said, hey,
not the coconut shreds.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com. You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
If you like the Treehouse show, then you will love us on social media. So give us a follow at Treehouse on Air across all the social media platforms. Give us a follow at Treehouse on Air. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma on Thursday, February 27th, 2025. Let's celebrate today with some birthdays. JWoww from the Jersey Shore. Actual name, Ginny Farley. She is 39 today. JWoww from the Jersey Shore is 39 today.
Wasn't she?
Kate, what's that?
Wasn't she the hot one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then it was it Sookie?
Snooki.
Snooki. Sorry, Snooki was the other one. And then the douche bros that all had the same like slicked straight up like there's something about Mary style hair.
Hey, they're DJs, bro. you back off.
Okay. I still remember one time it was Thanksgiving. I remember going over to my mom's house, Thanksgiving, and my nieces were watching. Apparently MTV had a Jersey Shore marathon going on. This is a handful of years ago, and they're watching Jersey Shore, and that was when I had one of my first like old man moments, and I said, "What are you watching?" And they're like, "Jersey Shore." And I said, "Why do they all look like idiots?" Like, what is this show about? And like, Jersey Shore. I really was like, when I think one of the first times that my nieces saw me is it's like, oh, you really are just a lame old man now.
Yeah, it's Snooki left the script for season 2 or season 3 at the airport, and somebody picked it up and started reading. So they had all the plot lines, and so they just leaked it to I think it was TMZ at the time, and they're like, "Here's every episode," and it was, I mean, the car accident that Snooki hurt her neck, that was in the script.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was like,
if you needed that leak to show you that reality shows aren't real, you need help. Reality shows are not real. I don't care how real they claim to be. And honestly, the more real they claim to be, the less real I think they are, because real life is not that interesting. And because here's the thing, the only way to make a true reality show of someone's life or a group of people's lives interesting is to do the Truman Show / Ed TV type approach, where you have to be recording at all times. And no production studio is going to waste that amount of money on the manpower and equipment to have to record and follow people around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The reality of it is most people's lives are not that interesting, so you have to concoct things to make it so.
Yeah, even like the Kardashians, like down to the front of the house wasn't real. Like that wasn't the house that they were in. It was just B-roll footage of a different house.
I'm surprised they didn't wheel it away like in one of those Chip and Joanna reveals.
Yeah. So somebody I know was at somebody's wedding, the guy who did the Girls Gone Wild, and all the Kardashians were there at the same table, and they're supposed to be feuding and fighting, and they were jotting down script ideas.
Same thing like the Real Housewives. It's like you put the name "real" in front of a show, I immediately disbelieve.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good thing we've never had to concoct anything about your life, Dan.
Everything's real.
Man, I am really stuck between a and a hard place.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
If you miss any part of the Treehouse Show, catch up with the Treehouse Show podcast, available on all major streaming and podcast platforms like Spotify, the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, and more. It is the Treehouse Show podcast to catch up on any of the Treehouse Show that you may have missed. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Today, inside the Treehouse, just a little bit more of show before we close up the Treehouse for today. We only got one birthday in before we got completely sidetracked, and that's okay because that's kind of how we operate. But there was another story that I really needed to touch on because it makes me smile, even though it's a horrible, horrible story. And it's a horrible thing, but we try to find humor in places that you don't normally find it. And that's what we're going to do here. In Florida, I could just stop there. Despite his best efforts, a Florida man completely failed at kidnapping twice. The Florida man, on an alleged spree of abduction, had his plans thwarted by two women because they were significantly stronger than he was.
That's awesome.
For the record, kidnapping is wrong and terrible and horrific and should not be made light of. When we're not making fun of kidnapping, we're making fun of a guy who attempted kidnapping who apparently isn't strong enough to do it. If you're going to attempt to kidnap someone, at least get some, weight training in.
Strength and conditioning.
Yeah, do a little strength and conditioning. Get on a program.
What is your when they ask you what your fitness goals are?
Yeah.
At the gym. So what are your fitness goals? I want to be able to steal her.
I'd like to be able to lift women. Yeah, me too, bro. Yeah.
I think also the lesson here, is if you fail the first time, take a step back, reevaluate, reassess, come up with a new plan.
Yeah. So yeah, he failed the first time, and so then apparently he was on his way home, and 20 minutes later, outside of his apartment building, he tried abducting another woman who was stronger than him. And that's another thing to learn from when you're reassessing your abduction efforts. Maybe don't kidnap someone right in front of where you live.
Management frowns on that.
That's going to violate your lease. You're not getting that deposit back. Again, kidnapping bad.
Yes.
For all things Treehouse, go to treehouseonair.com. Be sure to find and follow us on social media at Treehouse On Air for the show. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, it's at Trey Trenholm 1. And for Raj, it's at Comedian Raj. We'll see you tomorrow, right back here inside the Treehouse.